Supreme Court is expected to hand down decisions on a long list of outstanding items, including birthright citizenship. That is a biggie. So we are getting a preview of what could happen today with Professor Stephen Caliendo with North Central College. Professor Caliendo, as always, thank you for being here. I want to start off on this birthright citizenship case. What, if anything, are we expecting from the court?
My expectation, Anthony, is we don't know if it'll come down today. Of course, we still have another week or so of decisions, and there's 20 decisions that are still outstanding from those that they heard this year. But my expectation, I think most legal scholars' expectation, is that the court will unequivocally say that the president cannot, with an executive order, overturn the constitutional right to birthright citizenship.
Okay. In your mind, is this case really about citizenship itself, or is it more about presidential authority and the limits therein?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You're a good student, Anthony. You understand. You did the reading. It's very much about executive authority, and there's a number of the cases that are sitting here in a bunch here about what President Trump has tried to do via executive order that have made their way to the U.S. Supreme Court. And so there's no question that we could have a meaningful conversation about birthright citizenship. There's lots of countries who don't extend birthright citizenship, but we do. But it's enshrined in the Constitution, and that's the real question that the court's going to be wrestling with.
All right. Another case deals with mail-in ballots. Can you run us through what is at stake here?
Yeah, I mean, the question is, not only are mail-in ballots okay. I mean, I think we've known for a long time that states can have mail-in ballots, and they've used them for generations, really, for folks who are stationed abroad in the military or for people who were infirm. But this is really about after 2020, when more states began to experiment with mail-in balloting. The question is, can they be counted after Election Day? So in many states, as long as your ballot is postmarked on Election Day, it can still be counted afterwards. The Republican National Committee has sued, saying that they think that this is improper, and that if the ballot is not received and counted on Election Day, it should not go toward the total tally. Again, we're dealing with an executive order here, and the court will decide whether or not such a provision applying to the states can be struck down with an executive order.
Any thoughts on the direction the Supreme Court might head regarding this mail-in ballot case?
I'm not going to guess on this one. This one is not as clear cut. I think it's a lot more complicated than the birthright
than the 14th Amendment thing. Okay. Professor Caliendo, the court is also considering cases involving transgender athletes. I understand this is both on the collegiate level, the high school level as well. What questions are the justice being asked to answer in this, and what are the implications here?
To your point, Anthony, it's less about the court deciding whether or not it's right or wrong for trans girls or trans women to compete in girls or women's athletics, as it is whether states can prohibit these things or whether individuals are protected under the 14th Amendment and their equal protection rights, and that applies to the states. So this is really, the decision is going to be on legal grounds, but the discussion afterwards, because the ramifications are going to be whether or not this occurs. Of course, Anthony, as a campaign issue, this has meant a lot, particularly to Republicans. It's such a small percentage of the American public, but it's a wedge issue, and they've used it to talk about trans athletes in ways that sort of are part of the culture wars. And so the court, even though they don't want to wade into that, there's no question that whatever they decide here is going to contribute to that conversation.
Indeed, indeed. There's also a case about carrying firearms into private businesses. What is the constitutional question at play here?
Yeah, the constitutional question, of course, centers on the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and we have long-standing conversations, not only in politics, but legally, about what that means, what it means in the modern era. At stake in this particular case, though, is a number of states who are requiring if I'm a firearm carrier, some states require that I get prior permission from a private entity to bring that firearm in. So oftentimes, like in Illinois, you'll see there'll just be a picture on the no guns picture on the door of a private. It says you can't bring it in. In some states, they say no, you have to have prior permission, and that's what's at stake in this case.
Okay, got it. Now, we were kind of in the same position this past Thursday when we talked, or maybe it was Wednesday. But in terms of the timing on the court's decision, I know there's so many unknowns, but give us some context here. Do we expect a number of these to come today, next week? What are your thoughts there?
It's impossible to know. I mean, typically the court doesn't like to go into July. We do have a July 2nd date that is still before July 4th. And so I think there's some expectation that we might get decisions today, next week, and maybe even one more week after that. But the court has been releasing 3 decisions, 3, sometimes 4 decisions at a time. As you know, there's 20 left and there's not that many weeks. And so we're either going to get a big bunch of them today or a big bunch of them in the next couple of weeks. And so we'll know here in a few minutes how many we're going to get. We won't know until after 9 o'clock Central Time exactly which cases are decided.
All right, pins and needles over here. Professor Caliendo, thanks so much. Appreciate it, sir, as always.